What if I told you that the screen on your TV, your phone, and even your car is about to change completely? I'm at SID 2026 checking out something called APEX Pixel, and this might be the future of every display you use. Hey guys, welcome back to an all-new Webso Conflicts. Today we're here at the TCL CSOT booth at SID 2026, and they're showing off something that is not just one product, but an entire way of rethinking displays. It's called APEX, and the tech behind it is APEX Pixel. So instead of just looking at specs, we're gonna see how this actually changes real life. So here's the idea. Most companies focus on specs, brightness, resolution, refresh rate. But TCL CSOT is taking a different approach. APEX is their philosophy, focus on better visual eye comfort, eco-friendly design, energy efficiency, and future possibilities. And APEX Pixel is how they actually make that happen at the pixel level, across TV phones, cars, and even future tech. Let's hear about it from an expert.
So we think the APEX is our technology brand. We think it's the philosophy, how we define the future of display. So we think they regarding many directions. For example, A means the amazing visual experience, visual display experience. The P means the protective for our eye health. And the E for eco-friendly, the S for imagination, unlimited imagination. So right now, today we bring something interesting, follow our APEX philosophy.
All right, let's start with the screen that we care about the most, the TV. Now, normally TVs use three colors, red, green, blue. But TCL CSOT has added a fourth color, cyan. Now, it's the RGBC, and what that does is it makes colors look more natural. In front of the world's highest image quality WHVA Ultra LCD TV display, which is this 85-inch right over here.
This is something special. Conventional LCD is the RGB, but we think the color gamma is not so good. Color gamma conventional maybe just 90% for the BT2020, but for this one, we can up to 131%.
Wow. Because there are more subpixels working together, so when you're watching a movie, everything just feels more real, less like a screen, more like you're actually there. And this 85-inch display right here is showing exactly that. This is TCL CSOT's world's highest image quality WHVA Ultra LCD TV display, and it's using a native RGBC 4-colored pixel array. So instead of red, green, and blue, it adds cyan as the hardware level, which helps expand that color range, especially in blue and cyan tones. It reaches up to 131% of the BT2020 color gamut, so colors look more vivid and closer to real life. So you're also getting native 4K resolution and around 7,000 to 1 contrast ratio. So you get sharper details, deeper blacks, and smoother transitions. And overall, it makes everything feel more natural and more immersive. Now let's switch to something that we use even more than our TVs. Our phones, because this is where things actually get really interesting. This is TCL CSOT's super pixel technology, and it's trying to solve a big problem. Usually you have sharp image, smooth scrolling, or good battery life, but not all at once. Super pixel changes that. You get more clarity, lower power usage, and faster refresh rate. So everything feels much more smoother, while actually using less battery, which is kind of crazy, especially for gaming or just everyday scrolling.
So they have a different story. LCD we try to make a more vivid color, but for the FMM OLED, we always worry about the clarity. Because you always look in the mobile phone,
right.
You always worry about the battery lifetime, you always worry about the refresh rate because you want to use your mobile phone for gaming.
Of course.
So in the family mask, we also under the framework, we call it the APEX Pixel. But in the FMM mask, we have a special technology called a super pixel.
So they're basically showing 3 different versions of this super pixel display. Each one is focused on different use specifications. This is the high clarity version. It's a 6.9 inch with roughly around 420 pixels per inch and a resolution of 1200 by 2600. So text look extremely sharp, almost like printed paper. Then this display here goes up to 165 Hz, which is about 40% smoother than the standard 120 Hz panels. So for gaming or fast scrolling, everything just feels a lot more fluid with less motion blur. And then this one here is focused on efficiency. It uses an LTPO back plane, which is an adaptive refresh of 1 to 120 Hz. So adjusting it, well, that depends on what you're doing. And what really helps reduce the power usage is up to over 25%, while still keeping the brightness and clarity. They're showing how super pixels can be tuned for clarity, for speed, or battery life. Now this is where things start to feel more futuristic. And here, they're showing it inside of a car setup. This is TCL CSOT's Intelligent Cockpit Display Suite 3.0. And the highlight is right here. The world's first IJP OLED sliding central control display. And the world's first RGB OLED curved arm display.
IJP is actually our proprietary technology about the different way to manufacturing the OLED. Conventional OLED like evaporate the material to the glass and form the pixel. But however, for the notebook and the monitor application, we think the RGB stripe arrangement is quite important because it's very close to the conventional LCD. They can provide color free image quality. So we change the pixel arrangement and change the way. So we call it a special pixel design for the OLED. There is the RGB stripe. They can have a better power efficiency because the aperture is larger, and they can have a clear image because of the arrangement.
The sliding display is one that you can actually extend and retract depending on how you're using it. Compact when you don't need it, and full width when you do. It supports split screen modes for navigation, media, and controls all at once. The curved armrest display is a different idea. It's shaped to match the natural curve of your arm, so your hand just lands on it. The curve makes swiping and tapping feel smoother and more intuitive, and it blends into the cabin instead of feeling like a flat tablet glued to the door. So this isn't just about having a bigger display, it's about making the whole experience more dynamic and more interactive. And this is where you really start to see how cars are turning into the third living space. And it doesn't just stop there. Check this out. This is TCL CSOT's foldable IJP OLED monitor, and it goes from a compact 16-inch display to a full 28-inch ultra-wide display. It uses a trifold design so it can fold down really small, but still expand into a full workspace. So imagine working from anywhere, but still having a full setup. This is where flexibility really starts to matter, not just performance, but how the display fits your life. And then there's that stuff that really feels straight out of the future, like the micro LED display, which packs over 5,000 pixels per inch into a tiny 0.28 inch panel. There's also this real RGB OLED display with around 1,700 pixels per inch and a really high contrast, so everything looks incredibly sharp with a lot of detail packed into a small space. And this is where screens go from something you look at to something you experience. So yeah, this wasn't just about one product. This was about where display technology is going, from your TV, to your phone, to your car, and of course, beyond. APEX Pixel is basically TCL CSOT's way of saying, we're not just improving screens, we're redefining them. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and in fact, is this the actual future, or just another tech demo? See you guys next time. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.